Hi and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and today I'm doing another Kickstarter preview, and that's Dinodocus, designed by Alban Nanti, who is also responsible for Mini Golf Designer, which I featured on my channel too. This is really quite a different game from its footprint. I think it's mainly some cards, but also thematically completely different game. So you're trying to build or design your little dinosaur species. You have herbivores, you have carnivores, you have to feed them. If you can't feed them, they will go extinct, and then they will not score you as many points as a dino that would live, I don't know, 15, 20 million years or whatnot. I think it's really best played with 3 players and up. You can play it with 2. There is no solo mode here. But really, when you play it with 3, it's really a ton of fun. I enjoyed it a big deal. The whole family actually did. And yeah, you're obviously looking at a prototype, so I don't even have a game box with me, but I have this nice looking set of rules. I'm not sure if I will do a full playthrough of this game before. Maybe I will shorten it somewhat just to give you an idea, and I will focus on a 3-player experience, because again, I think that's where it's placed best, or 3 or more players, that is. But really, covering more than 2 players is typically a challenge for me. 3 is already But yeah, I will do my best not to screw things up too badly. And yeah, let's see how things go, shall we? Okay, and here we are. That's, for the lack of a better term, the main game area. There is no real board in this game. There are, in theory, 2 different kind of cards in this game. Yeah, there are some player aids and there are those player cards here, but in theory there are 2 kind of cards. We have the period cards, which are being used to score your points. That's a very nice mechanic, actually. It's a little bit flimsy, but it looks pretty nice, and yeah, I really like that a lot, actually. And then we have the, how are those called? Dinosaur cards. And here we have the heads, the, I think, anterior legs, the posterior legs, and the tail. And yes, a dinosaur has to consist of exactly one of each of those. And as part of setup, all the players will build their very first dinosaur, and they will pretty much draw the top card of each of those decks. So here we have the head, the anterior legs, the posterior legs, and the tail. So the red player in this case starts with the Anchiocedon, and there are 2 values on these cards. So there is an, let's call it, an attack value and a defense value. This, and I think a third one here, is this icon up here. The green one tells us this is an herbivore, so they want to eat a plant, and there are these awesome looking plant tokens, and I really hope these will come with the final version of the game, because they look really nice. I think I mentioned this, everything you see here is prototype, but honestly those cards already look very nice to me. And yeah, again, coming back to the cards again, this tells us this is an herbivore. This is the defense value for the herbivore, which is more important for an herbivore when they go into a food competition, a potential food competition later in the game. This one only has defense values, and their current defense value is a 5. And you're also deriving the so-called strength from these values here. So you take what is higher, either the strength or combined strength values plus the combined defense values, and the higher of those results is the so-called strength. And that's, I will explain that in more detail when we get there. Again, this is the red player's dinosaur, the Anchiocedon. Yellow, on the other hand, started with a carnivore here, the Velociraptor. And here you see really attack values and defense values. It's a very weak dinosaur overall, because again, the strength is derived from either the highest attack or the highest defense. In this case, defense is 2, strength is, or attack value is 3, so the strength of this dinosaur is only a 3. And in order to feed this dinosaur later on, you have to find a weaker animal. But of course, there are a lot of ways to make your dinosaurs stronger or other dinosaurs weaker. And it's really a nice little mechanic. So that's the yellow player's dinosaur. And last but not least, we have the blue player here with the Etrometor, and also an herbivore here, and the strength is also not really great. So it's a 3 strength value in total, because again, defense is the highest value. That's a defense of 3. It's also relatively weak compared to the herbivore of the red player, but at the start of the game there are typically enough plant tokens available, and that's also something that we have figure it out. I will play the game more or less as is, but I decided, or we decided after playing it a couple of times in a 3-player game, to reduce the available amount of plant tokens out there. Maybe that's a little bit on us because we are playing too careful or whatever, I don't know. But when playing with 4 of those tokens in a 3-player game, we didn't really feel that the competition was to, and we really like competitive games in the family. But again, typically we'll start with 4 of those, and I think this is really independent of the player count so far, and you can play this game up to 6, by the way. And then I think, yeah, this will get tight for sure. And the only other change I did to the standard game, I'm only playing with about half of those period cards here, because that's the end game trigger. When there are no more cards left, then this will trigger the end of the game, and then we are tallying up our score and see how things went. Typically, the start player is being defined by the total amount of points they have on their starting dinosaurs. And it happened that all of our players have exactly a 5, and there may have been something written in the rules, but I was not really clear where to find this. But in this case, we simply randomized this, and this ended up that red would be the starting player. It's really not that big of a deal ultimately. The only real thing is, if you have the weaker dinosaur, then you should go first. In this case, they're all fast. It's very likely that a dinosaur that starts with a carnivore, yeah, will have a hard time to eat, but that's also not a problem. If you ever run out of dinosaurs, you will automatically at the start of your turn create a new one. That's really something I like a lot. And I may not have mentioned it, of course you don't need to stick to just one dinosaur. So if you feel like it in your very first turn and you have the right amount of cards in your hand, that's up to you. By the way, you can totally have up to whatever, 5 dinosaurs or 10. Not very likely 2, 3. That's, I think, a relatively usual number that we have seen in our 3-player games. Again, the red player is the starting player, and we start with the so-called incubation step of the turn. Draw a dino if you don't have one. Yeah, we all start with a dino, so we can skip this. Discard from your hand if you wish. We don't have any cards in our hand at the start of the game. That's really something that's, yeah, it is what it is. And then we draw back up to 5 cards, and that's what red will do. And you are totally free to choose from where you are drawing those cards. So in theory, for whatever reason, red could decide, I want 5 heads. Doesn't really make sense, because typically, yes, you want more dinosaurs in there. In this case, you also get to look first before you make your choice. So whatever, red could say, let's go for this head. If I don't like that, let's go for another head before I choose my second card, for example. So that's really very, very key. And in this case, I decided to play red open for you on camera, and all the other players a little bit hidden, because I think that's more interesting to you. I have to pretend I don't know what the other players have, but I'm typically in that age right now where I tend to forget that anyway. So if I will play them aside, and then when I play someone else's turn, I'm pretty sure I have forgotten by then what the other players had on their hand. So in this case, again, it's typically not a bad idea to simply go for a second dinosaur. So we will start here with the hip. So let's draw a card from each of those so that we can at least make sure we are having a full dinosaur. And now we get to choose, depending on what we have drawn, to draw my 5th card. And in this case, it really seems that this head of this hip is very weak, and it also says so: small and defenseless head. And all this text is flavor here on these cards, so there are no special powers whatsoever. Yeah, you could debate, oh wow, this game would be cool with special powers, but no, I think the game is really a fast-paced game which you can play with your family. And also, it's not just a family game, it's a very nice filler. I really like it a lot. It's a kind of a longer filler. It's not something that you play in 10-15 minutes. But yeah, I really don't need special powers in this game. That's what I'm basically trying to say here. But for me, really, this hat looks very weird. I can still use this hat, so don't get me wrong. It's still a useful hat. I can still play that on another player, so I will definitely hold on to this. But still, for my dinosaurs, I think it may be a good idea to go for another hat. And that's, okay, now we have drawn a carnivore's head, which is okay. Only the head defines if a dinosaur is a carnivore or a herbivore. Everything else can go wherever they want. So there are no carnivore tails, for example, or herbivore posterior legs. So that really doesn't matter. It's only the head that defines if the dinosaur is a carnivore or herbivore. So those are the cards for the red player. So we have dealt with our incubation phase. Next, we are moving into the hatching and mutation phase of the game. We can play any amount of cards. The sky is the limit, or pretty much the hand size, which is always 5. Again, no special powers whatsoever here. And our option here are laying down a full Dino. We will only be able to do that once because, again, our hand size is 5, and yeah, 4 cards consist of a Dino. So we would have needed 8, and we don't have that. But we can also replace cards without changing the head color here, for example. And we can do that once per dino. And this means my dinos, but also the other player's dinos. So if for whatever reason I say, red player really started off very well here with this dino. I mean, they already have a strength of 5 and the defense is 5. I think that's a strong dino. So if I say, but the posterior legs here, they're kind of weak. So let's see what we have drawn. That's a strong posterior leg. The problem is it doesn't really help us here in respect to our strength, because again, the strength is only defined by one of the categories. So yes, we would add an attack value of 2, but overall it wouldn't help the strength, because again, we would have needed a green card. So maybe in this case I could have also decided, let's go for a second posterior legs card instead and hope for something green to show up. So in this case I cannot make this dino any stronger unless I'm maybe going for another tail. No, that's a 1. Also 1 doesn't really help me either. There are cards with a 3 actually, but this I believe only for the heads, if I recall that correctly. So I guess in this case the best option for the red player might be to go for another dino. We can go for this weak herbivore here, but I don't like that. I think I want to go for a carnivore next, because we should be able to feed the carnivore because all the other players are rather weak. So yeah, we are playing the Spiguanirus, and it's a very strong carnivore actually, because again we are adding the attack value, so that's a 6 in total. We can ignore the defense value down here, so the strength of this dinosaur is a 6. So the carnivore will be able to eat any dinosaur that is lower than a 6 here. And again, we are comparing this to the strength, and no matter if that's defense or attack value. But this is a relatively strong carnivore here. We still have that card left in our hand, but I think let's hold on to that. Yes, we could make other dinos weaker, but ultimately I don't think that's necessary. We will simply hold on to this card. That was our hatching and mutation phase. And up next we have the natural selection, which means we have to feed our dinosaurs. We will always start with your herbivores, and they are pretty much eating all at the same time. At the start of the game, and in most cases, it doesn't really matter in which order those eat. When those plant tokens are running out, then yes, it really does make a difference. So in this case, it's rather simple. Red only has one plant eater, a herbivore, so we will take one of those plant tokens and place it next to our herbivore. Each herbivore can only have one of those plant tokens, and as long no one is competing with you, this plant token will stay where they are. So we're not putting them back at the start of the round or so. Right now, this Ankylosedon has this plant token in theory until the end of the game. Up next, we have to feed all our carnivores, and that's the Spiguanirus here. It's very nice, and there is a cool optional rule, by the way, and if you are managed to really bring the right dinos together, and you have the little number on the bottom here of those cards, and that's, I think, the only real downside about these cards, you can't really read those numbers really well. So let's say I have 4 cards and they all have the number 15 here. This means this would be an actual dinosaur which was roaming around our worlds here, and then I would basically score some extra point. But that's already an optional rule. We are not playing with this optional rule here, and honestly I've never used it before, so the game as it is perfectly fine. But back to our carnivore, and the carnivore has to eat, and they have to eat another dinosaur. And this can be another carnivore, this can be a herbivore. Again, the only restriction is that the attack value of that carnivore who's attacking or wants to eat something needs to be higher than the, let's say, defense or attack value, so the strength of another dinosaur. And in theory, I could even eat my own dinosaur. And there are really strategic things in this game where you say, okay, let's bring out very quickly in this round a very weak dinosaur so that I will be able to feed my carnivore here, for example. Very, very cool things that you can, think through in this game. So, okay, in this case, we could either go for the Velociraptor, but doesn't really hurt me actually. And if I will play that tactically, I already see, hey, this one will most likely not be able to eat unless he makes that dinosaur much stronger during the next turn. So I think there is no reason. On the other hand, he could make that dinosaur stronger, and then he would still be able to eat one of those. And I don't really have any defense cards. So I think in this case, the Spiguanirus is going to eat the Velociraptor. Again, the strength is 3, here the attack is a 6, so we have eaten that dinosaur. It will simply getting discarded, so we go into the discard area below all those cards here. And this means we have fed all of our dinos, which means each of those will get a 5 million years kind of card. I will explain you the scoring, I think, as soon as I will be able to score one of my dinosaurs, because ultimately that's a very cool mechanic, a little bit flimsy, but again, I will come to that when we get there. But bottom line is, the more cards you have, the more points you will get. And it's not just one card equals 1 point. It's basically for the first card, that's 1 point, the second card gives you 2 points, and so on. So this can really, no, it's 3 points actually. Ultimately both of those combined. And again, the more cards you have from one single dinosaur, let's say this dinosaur survives 20 million years in total, that's 10 points in total, instead of if you're losing whatever 4 dinosaurs who are only have 5 million years each, they will only score you 4 points in total. And that's why you really want to make sure that your dinosaurs will last. But in this case, both dinosaurs were fed. We were both scoring them a point or 5 million years card. And then the turn of the red player is over. We are moving to the yellow player, who doesn't have a dinosaur. Again, we are starting here with the incubation phase. Draw a dino if you don't have one. Okay, so really not a big deal. Okay, we are starting off with apparently weak herbivore, but okay, that's, I think we can change that. We have the Scusi. No. I like this. This is really one of my most favorite parts about this game, setting together this strange looking dinosaurs. And again, it's really nice. Scusi Nomus. And overall, a defense value of 3. Not very good in a food competition. Overall strength is also a 3 in this case, but that's totally okay. We are not going to discard any cards because we don't have a hand size right now. And then he's allowed to draw 5 cards from the deck. And again, I will play the other players in a hidden fashion. And it's a rather weak dinosaur, but I still have the chance to score some points. And I could go for an incredibly strong dinosaur right now. Or I could, maybe... Let's play a new dinosaur. We will play the Tropslosaurus. So overall a strength of 5, which is okay. We can right now ignore the attack value of that card. It's a herbivore after all. We still have 1 card left, and that's a posterior leg. I could still decide to play that, but right now, maybe there is. Just to try to protect our dinos. No, I think there is no use, right? But I want to show it to you anyway. So overall, yellow feels that the carnivore of the red player is too strong. So we are going to exchange the knee part of the dinosaurs here with the row part of another dinosaur. So they have developed. And keep in mind, we are talking about 5 million years. So it's really not unlikely that things have changed in that meantime. This card simply gets discarded. And in theory, if the red player chooses now, they can pretty much play, let's call it a defend card right now. So if they feel, oh, I want to change that again, they could now play another card on the same dino to make it stronger again, for example. This doesn't have to be a posterior leg. Let's say he has a stronger head, for example, doesn't have a thing, then he could still say, okay, let's go for this dinosaur here, or let's change the head again. Again, the only real limitation or restriction to that is I cannot change a herbivore or a carnivore into a herbivore and back and forth. So I'm not allowed to do that in this case. Anything else I can change, but I can only do that once per dinosaur. So let's say still yellow would have 3 cards in their hand, and I would say, oh, let's also remove this and this. That's not possible. You can do that once per dinosaur per player action phase. But that's a starting point. Problem is, this dino still has an attack rating of 4, whereas the weakest dinosaur of the yellow player still only has a 3. So it's still very likely that the carnivore up there will eat my new herbivore down there. Anyway, I have to feed both of my dinosaurs. They're both herbivores. There are still enough plant tokens available. So here is one, here is another one. So we are feeding our 2 dinosaurs, and then the round is over. Moving over to the blue player, and blue is simply going to draw their cards again. They still have a dino in front of them, and again, for the starting hand, I will go for a full dino. And then I will choose, let's say, a 5th card after having seen my new hand of cards here. And in this case, blue is going for another head card here. Then we are going to play cards. And wow, blue was extremely lucky in their draw. So they're definitely going for another dinosaur. And here we have another carnivore. A lot of carnivores, actually. So we have the Diplophosaurus. And an extremely strong herbivore, a carnivore, because overall that's 8 points worth of strength, and still 1 card left here. That's an extremely strong card. What am I going to do? I think, yeah, we are going to replace the card up here too. So we are removing the E part and making a Ken out of this. So now we have a Kentrometer, which brings another strength point here, a defense point in this case. So we are increasing the strength of that dinosaur, or the defense rating, to a 4. Again, it's really interchangeable. Strength equals the highest of those 2 values here. In this case, it's really strength 4 and defense 4. And we are simply discarding the I had for that one. Out of cards, so blue has to feed their dinosaurs. Again, we have 1 herbivore, where there is still 1 plant token left. That's the last one. So as of the next round, we might be seeing already our first food competition in respect to those plant tokens here. So maybe we're really playing it differently when I'm playing, rather than playing this alone. Interesting. Anyway, and we still have to feed our carnivore down there, and wow, they can eat everything. In theory, they can eat 2 dinosaurs in theory. Of course, that's not allowed. So who am I going to eat? And I think one thing I forgot, yeah, I should have awarded the yellow player 2 of those cards each for their dinosaurs. Sorry, I missed to do that, so I'm doing that right now. Yeah, right now it's really not that big of a deal. So I think I still want to go for the strongest dinosaur right now. And because these 2 dinosaurs, yeah, I mean, both of the players, I think I really want to go for the strongest. Problem is, red has a strong herbivore, but so does the yellow player. In this case, I'm really not sure. But I also see that red still has a card in their hand. So maybe right now red could be the stronger player. Of course, the other players don't know that this is a 0. So I think red should be our target. In this case, we are really going for the stronger, because right now, or maybe we should go for this one instead, because with only 1 card, red could make this stronger and then eat our herbivore, right? Which only for, yeah, I think so. No, I think we are going to eat this other carnivore here. So those cards go back to the deck, which also means red will score their first card here. So I can finally show that to you. Again, these points are not lost, but it's just 1 point. And the way how that works is we are placing those cards next to those starting cards here, and we will start by moving them aside here. Right now we are leaving one room here. And in the end, again, we are only counting the length of those cards in theory. If you really want, and we played it a couple of times with this way, later on we really decided to go with, I think we used coins then to really say 1 card equals 1 VP, 2 cards equals 3 VP. But this is really a very graphical or nice representation. You really see how many points you have by simply comparing the length to the other player. Of course, it will also put, let's say, a target on the back of on your back, because yeah, everyone else will also see, oh wow, this player seems to be the strongest player right now. But we have fed, or rather, blue has fed their 2 dinosaurs, so we are placing those cards next to the appropriate dinosaurs, and then the first round is over. We are moving back to the red player. Red does have a dinosaur, so we are not getting a freebie here, so we can now decide to discard this dinosaur. In theory, that's a perfect, let's say, card to place on another dino, but on the other hand, I also have to think about myself. So I could now decide if I want to discard, but that's really a decision I have to take before I draw cards. So I cannot draw 3 cards and then say, let's discard this. Now I have to make that call. And a 0, yes, I could harm other players, but there is no real 2 out there. So I think let's simply get rid of it and let's simply draw cards. I want to really start with the posterior legs here. I think I want a stronger pair of those. And strong feet, don't get me wrong, doesn't really help me with a herbivore apparently, because it's not really increasing our defense rating right now. So I think we will draw at least a second card from this category, and that's the better deal. So we will later on definitely replace those, and then I think let's go for a full dino. So we are going for another head. Here I really was hoping for a carnivore actually. We are going for some anterior legs. Come on, these cards, again, prototype, and we are going for a tail. So in theory we could build now another dino, but that's already the end of the incubation phase. So let's place some cards. I definitely want to make this dinosaur stronger, so I'm going to replace that card here accordingly. So that's now an Anchiododon. This card gets discarded. So this has increased our overall strength to a 7 and also the defense rating. So a very strong herbivore, I would say. And then in theory, I could play another one just for the laughs. And again, we are not losing anything. The problem is, oh yeah, we can actually. No, we cannot. The problem is, the only dino I could play now, that's now really a great example, is this, what would it be, a Pronorapsaurus. And this, it's a herbivore, so we are only looking at the defense rating here. The defense rating, unfortunately, is only a 3. And there are no more plant tokens left, which means we would not be able to feed this dinosaur here, because then we would really go into a competition with another herbivore, and the only other herbivore that's at least close to the strength is the Scucinomus here from the yellow player. Problem is it's also a 3, and we really have to be stronger than the other dino. So in this case it really doesn't make any sense to play another dino, because we would lose all those 4 cards right away. So I think we can still play other cards though, just to make sure we are making things a little bit weaker. And I definitely want to weaken that insane dinosaur here. So I think, yeah, we are exchanging the tail from this Diplophorus to a Diplophosaurus now. So they have lost 1 strength point. So they're down to 7. So with 7, this carnivore at least will not be able to eat my stronger herbivore, which now has a strength or defense value of 7-2. Of course, again, blue player could still do stuff, but I think that was our best defensive move right now. So we're removing this card here. In theory, we still have 3 more cards left, and we could go for other dinosaurs too. Is there a point? I think we really want to hold on to this one in case we are going for a very strong carnivore later on. Yeah, and all the others... No, I think we will hold on to the remainder of those cards here. Unfortunately, we only have one dino out there. It's a strong dino. He's still, or it's still fat, which we will keep this token. But this gives us our second card here, and again, if we would score that later on, we will then increase the row or extend that row accordingly. We don't have any more dinosaurs here, so we're moving back to the yellow player. And here we are, and sorry for this strange arrangement here of dinosaurs, but table space right now is kind of a problem. It's really not that amount of space you need, but yeah, whatever. Don't worry about it. We have dinos, so there's not a problem, but we get to choose which cards we are going to draw. And again, I will do that now mainly off camera. I'm relatively certain that we may want to go for another full dino now, but I really want also a stronger head. So we will definitely go for at least one more head card here. But I get to choose then basically if I want more head cards. Really depends now on the draw here. But again, I will do that now off camera. And ultimately they decided to go with two of those tail cards, one head, one of each. So typically it's not an exactly bad idea going for full dinos each round, but sometimes you really, or at some point in time you really have to think, okay, how do I make my two whatever dinosaurs live the longest? Because having two dinosaurs and keeping them for 2-3 rounds each, that's already a huge thing. For 3 dinosaurs it's better, of course, but then getting the third dinosaur also strong is kind of risk. Can still score you some small points, so don't get me wrong, but really if you manage to have 2 dinosaurs and keep them alive for a long time, then I think you are pretty much settled here. Okay, so what is yellow going to do with those cards? I could go for another dino actually. Would it be an okay dino? Is it strong enough? I don't think it is actually. Or is it? No, it's not strong. So the dino I could build would not be strong enough to take an herbivore token away. Okay, I'm now giving away information, but yeah, whatever. So I guess no, we are not playing another dinosaur right now, but we are going to make our head here a little bit stronger for sure. So we have now a Galcinomus. This getting discarded again. The token stays where it is right now. So we have up this dinosaur here to 4 defense, which is, I would say, okay for an herbivore. Not great. As of 5, things start to really get interesting. So, but we have taken care of this dinosaur here already. But I guess we also want to strengthen our second dino here, and using this one here, replacing this Saurus with another Saurus card. The other one gets discarded, obviously, and now we have the Brachiosaurus. Still the same thing, but this is now a defense rating or strength rating of 7. So that's a very powerful dinosaur, actually. And we still have 3 cards in our hand, and honestly, I don't like the strength of this dinosaur here. On the other hand, blue still has a very strong carnivore, and I think we should be able... Yeah, I think no, we have to play another card on the blue player, because simply red only has 1 dinosaur, they have 2 if they would feed. Yeah, no, I think we have to do that. And the 3 here, that's amazingly strong. So we are discarding this card here. We are replacing it with this here. So wow, we have now changed it from 7 down to a 4 attack rating, the Diplodocus. So we can in theory go for another dino up here, but I don't really see a reason. We could do that. No, I think red will also get a card now. But first of all, blue could now decide to defend by playing another card on this dinosaur, basically exchanging another card. This could be again the same card again, or another card. In this case, blue doesn't have any more cards left. So we can move over to, or basically moving back to, yeah. We are going, or rather yellow is going to also play a card on this dinosaur of the red player up here. This getting discarded down to a 0. So this really got significantly weaker right now, the Antododon. But again, red could now decide to defend. In this case, I think we do want to defend. We have at least a card that's somewhat stronger than this 0 here. So we are again replacing this card with the Anododon. And so it's still a 6. And a 6 is still a fair card. But that's okay. Again, the yellow player could not go at this same dinosaur again now. Say, oh, I still have another 0 here. No, that's not allowed. But I think, yeah, yellow still has one more card left. No, I think we are good here. Both dinosaurs still have a plant token here. And right now I feel yellow could be in an advantageous position. So here getting a 5 million card, here we are getting a 5 million card. And that ends the turn of the yellow player. So we are moving back to the blue player. And I think right now there is no reason not to go for a full dino first. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe we really get some cool stuff out. Sorry, those cards are sticking together a little bit. But again, it's a prototype, don't get me wrong. Apart from that, they're really working very nice. And then I have to check out my cards and have to decide which extra card I'm going to draw for blue. And after seeing the cards, I think we are going for another set of posterior legs. Okay, what are we going to do about that? First of all, we have to check out if that carnivore will be able to eat. So they have a strength of 4, but all the other dinos also, or attack value of 4, I should say, and all the other dinos out there have at least also a 4 strength. So we have to find something to make this one here at least 1 point stronger. But okay, that's why I have drawn this extra card here, obviously. So let's see what we got. And unfortunately, it seems we were not lucky enough. There is still something we can do, or at least try to do, to try to feed that carnivore there. Again, we need another dinosaur with a total strength of 3 or less. And I guess our best deal right now is to go for the Galcinomus from the yellow player. Right? Yes. No, wait a second. Yeah. So we are removing the no part of this one and replacing this with a Sera card from this dino here. So now we have the Galcinomus, and they're now only at a strength of 3. And in theory, yellow could now decide if they want to defend. Again, we can only defend on the same dinosaur. So I could not say, okay, you are playing this card on me, so I'm playing something on your dinosaur. That's not allowed. I can only defend, quote unquote, on my own dino that has been altered here. In this case, yeah, yellow says, no, I'm not going to play a card. So back to blue, they can still play a lot of cards, actually. Is there something else and cool we can do? Something that really helps us? Yeah, it does. So I guess we want to strengthen our herbivore here. So we are discarding this card and replacing it with this. So we have the Kentrometus, which is now a strength of 5, or a defense rating of 5. And I think then we are calling it around for now. Yep. And then we have to eat. Again, we have to always start with our herbivores. The herbivore is fully fed. Perfect. So no problem here. We don't have to go into a competition. Only again, when this token would be away now, for whatever reason, we would then have to go into a competition. But right now, they're all still fed. So we have to check out our carnivore, the Diplotrosaurus here with a strength of 4. And luckily for the blue player, we have taken care of this. So this has only a strength of 3. So we are eating this one here. Plant token goes back to the reserve. So someone else can eat that. But we are still scoring the 2 cards for the yellow player here. So again, the first card, the Jurassic, goes in here. Second card, another Jurassic, goes in here. So you already see how this will really lengthen. Again, if the next dino of the red player would die with only 1 card, and I just can show that to you, they would still be behind for 1 spot here. So again, that's really a nice mechanic here. The really only problem is the longer this row gets, yeah, it's getting more difficult, but really a very nice representation of your victory points, that is. So yeah, we have fed both of our dinos, which means 1 card goes in here, 1 card goes in here, we are doing okay, and then we are giving the game back to the red player. This was already the second full round of the game. And again, keep in mind, I'm playing with a very much reduced stack of those, I keep forgetting those cards, period cards here, just to keep things smooth so I can really play this to the bitter end. Okie dokie, we are back at red. We can discard cards, but they're really good cards actually. Yeah, no, I think we want to hold on to those. The question now is, what am I going to draw? I mean, with this, obviously, we are trying to get maybe a strong carnivore out. So I will most certainly, let me place those cards below our dinosaur here. So maybe we should go for yet another. Let's try to go for another head. And yes, awesome, 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 awesome. We got ourselves a nice looking, I think that we will definitely go for some anterior legs. Cool, that's another one. And we need a tail for the next dinosaur. Okay, that's really not the strongest tail, but I guess with this we should be able... Oh, are we? I have to be careful now. 4 is the number to be. Yeah, that's not a problem. Okay, yeah, we are going to build another carnivore here. The Dinodocus. Sounds cool. And in total, this has a strength of 6. Very cool. We still have this card left, but right now there's really no reason to play this card. We can only make other dinosaurs stronger. Keep in mind, we cannot transform a carnivore into a herbivore, so we will have to hold on to this card, but that's really good actually. So we have to feed. This dinosaur is still fully fed, so we keep the plant token here. This one needs to eat, and it needs to eat something that has a strength of 5 or less. And right now we cannot eat the yellow dinosaur, which is kind of a pity. So we have to eat a dinosaur from the blue player. And this has a 4, this has a 5. So I guess we have to go for the stronger dino in this case. Yep. So this goes back to the supply. So this getting discarded here. And this also means we are scoring those 2 cards for the blue player. And by the way, I'm really talking way too much here. This is such a fast-paced game. Triassic and, oops, what is this? Cretaceous. And again, it doesn't really matter which orientation you place those in. It's just a graphical representation of your victory point. Amazing. So we have fed the red player's dinos. And that's, I think, wow, this dino already gets his 3rd period card. That's really not shabby at all. And yeah, we are starting off with another dino here. And then yeah, we are moving back to the yellow player. Yellow still has 1 card. And I think, I mean, we could go for a defensive move. The problem is we don't really know. Yeah, let's discard this card. So that's a very poor card actually. The Lophus, which is 0. So we are going to draw, I think, a full dino now, first of all. So a head, anterior legs, posterior legs, and a tail. I will look at those cards and then make a call. What? Oh wow, that wasn't a bad draw at all actually. So I guess we are going for, doesn't really matter too much. I think I will go for yet another tail in this case, and then yeah, we are going to play some cards. Oh, I like this draw actually. So yeah, I think we are totally going for another dinosaur here. The Paragolotops. Isn't that lovely? Has a strength of 6 in total and a defense rating of 6. We still have 1 more card left. And should I go? Is there a risk right now? It's interesting. No, I think I am going to play that card on the blue player. Yeah, I think that's still our best bet actually. That's really kind of a bummer. Yeah, but still, we're going to play this on the blue player. So we are removing the tail and we'll replace it with this. So we have basically weakened the dinosaur down to a 3. They could defend now. Let me see. Oh, that's tempting actually. Problem is, he's next. No, there's really no reason right now to defend, right? Unless Oh yeah, let's do that. So they have changed this, so we are, it's also a strong head actually, a 2. But it's our strongest team. No, we are going to replace this one with this one. So we will go back. Well, that's a tier 2 Plotrophodon. Wow, what a mouthful. But again, it's a strength of 4. And the reason why I did that right now, I could have gone for another dinosaur, but this card has already 2 cards, and I can only modify one of my dino, or each dino once in my given round. So if I really want to make this one even more strong or stronger, then yeah, I think I want to be able to play at least one more card to this one here. Okay, so this was the defense move of the blue player in this case. Yellow is out of cards, so we have to feed. This dino still has one plant token. This has to grab one from the reserve, not a problem. So we are drawing 2 more period cards. This also has 3 already, and this has 1. And by the way, as soon as this deck runs out, the game is over. So we are not going for any replacement cards. Whoever isn't fat by that. And this is really a crucial part of that game. Checking, okay, when will the game run out? How will I be able to maximize the score? For example, so how can I get the best amount of cards and really also assign maybe the final card to my stronger dino, a dino in this case, just to making sure, again, the more cards a dino has, the more points it will get accordingly. But okay, that was the yellow player's turn, and there are 4 more cards left, so the game will end relatively soon. Then we are moving to the blue player, and I think that's a strong card, but I really want to make sure... It's a strong card, actually. Let's not discard any cards. So we have 2 cards here. I definitely want another tail for sure. So let me see. I can check that. I have to do that really off camera now, because I have to make an informed decision for those players. And unfortunately, we didn't draw well. So yeah, we are going to replace the tail here anyway, just to make this dinosaur a little bit stronger. Problem is, we need to eat. They have a strength of 5, and we need to eat something that's 4 or less. Wow, I'm not sure if we are able to do that actually. Oof, that's a tough one now. Yeah, we could eat something actually. I would really love to go for, oh, maybe this one. Oh, that's also 5. Ah, that's so bad. They're all too strong. I was really hoping to eat one of those. Ideally this one here, but I think I don't have anything. Yeah, I only have 5, and a 5 is not enough, because even if I, let's say, replace that tail, the strong tail here, it's still a 5 left. Oh, that's terrible. And I can only replace 1 card, keep that in mind, per dinosaur. So yeah, I think we have to actually replace one of those here. I would also go for that. Or could we go for this? No, even that would not be enough. It's still a 5. Whatever I do. Yeah, really, I wanted to eat one of those long-aged dinosaurs. But yeah, I have to eat. I want to eat, so I have to change this here. Change it into that. So this is now a strength of 3 in total. Ah, that's so bad. Maybe I should still prepare for another round then later on, just to be sure. Yeah, let's... Again, yeah, red, we can now decide if we want to defend, but yeah, this doesn't help us. We cannot play this. So I guess we are, yeah, I think blue will still, yeah, we have to prepare something, right? Yeah, in this case, the second card will be played against this one here. So this getting discarded and going into that. So that's now down to a 5. That's at least something. And they cannot defend, so yellow doesn't have any more cards. And I think we are doing maybe the same thing here. Yes, we are removing this card and replacing with this, also weakening this dinosaur at least a little bit when it comes down to a plant competition, that is. So they are also down to a 5. We cannot eat it, unfortunately, and we are now going into the eating phase. So the red dinosaur here, yeah, they have a strength of 5, so we have to eat the somewhat weak carnivore here. Again, the strength is, oh, maybe we didn't have to exchange this, because again, the strength is still the highest rating of the two, but again, it's a 3 no matter what. So maybe we didn't even have to play that card. Actually, I didn't really think that through straight, but yeah, we will score that card. This goes to the red player's scoring screen. Again, we are starting from scratch from the first one here, because again, we will always start with a new dinosaur here. You see all of the other players are somewhat in the lead, and last but not least, we are awarding that carnivore here with one of those H cards. I keep forgetting. Period cards. It's really tough for me. So they're also at 3 at least. That's something. But that's again the end of the round, moving back to red. And this is most likely, I think it is, pretty sure it is the last round of the game, because there are only 3 period cards left right now. And again, keep in mind, we are playing a shorter version of the game here, and that's a complete house rule. It's not written in the rules somewhere. That's just me deciding to shorten the game here on camera. We are totally holding on to this card here. And can we somehow ensure, maybe, let's still go for, let's first of all fill up the dino here. So we are going for anterior legs, posterior legs, and a tail. And that was a terrible draw, real terrible draw for things. So in this case, this could be the perfect setup for another carnivore. So I guess in this case, we really want to go for maybe yet another head. Yeah, let's do that. And it is a carnivore. Problem is, it's a very weak carnivore, unfortunately. It doesn't come with any attack rating on its own. So if we are playing that as a dinosaur here, so what strength would we have actually? It's a strength of 4. Will we be able to eat something? Do we have something with a 3? No, we don't. Oh, that's such a bummer. I mean, still, does it matter what we are playing now? Yeah, it does matter, of course. If that would not be able to eat, we are not scoring any points. No, of course, we have to play this as a Prociosaurus. So we will hold on to this card here. We cannot replace it. Oh, we can. Oh, we can, and we most certainly will play this card on this Tyrannosaur kind of card here. So this is gone, and it is now again, we can replace a carnivore with a carnivore. That's now going down to a strength of 2. So let's see if blue wants to defend, and blue says no, I don't. And that's really a very weak setup for the final round of the game. Okay, that's really perfect actually. We are out of cards. There is still a plant token left, which means both of our dinosaurs will eat now, going in here, which means we are down to only 1 card left in the stack. And this also means we can basically stop the game here, because we know for sure both of those dinosaurs are fed. Now, it's really a bummer that we haven't seen a herbivore competition a rerun here, but again, again, I'm either really playing it very poorly with 3 players, or I still think that we have too many plant tokens available. Again, when we are playing it now with a 3-player game, we're always removing one of those tokens. Then it's really very, very tight when it comes down to those plant tokens. But it doesn't really matter too much. So I think, yeah, in theory, we will go now to another drawing cards. We could go for another dino. Problem is, okay, no, maybe... No, it's still 1 card left. So whatever extra dino we are building right now, it wouldn't change anything right now, because again, there are no more of those period card left. So we can basically end the game here. So yes, they are all both fed. We are assigning this token here to this card. I think I get to choose. Let me see the last card of the game. What does it say? End of the game. Ends immediately when the player takes the last period cards. The player can choose to which they allocate the remaining period cards here. So that's perfectly fine. So end of game is triggered immediately. We are placing all our cards now to the scoring area, and I will do that now off camera, or maybe show it at least once for the red player. So we do that again dino by dino. So we are starting with the first dino of the red player. Again, we have to start from scratch. Second card goes in here, third card, and then we have the 4th card. So that was the first dino only, so very strong. And then we have still another dino. And again, we have to start here in this case from that card here, and that's pretty much the end result for the red player. But keep in mind, shortened version of the game. It's really not uncommon that you have dinos with 5 or 6 of those period cards here. Let's do the same now for the yellow player, and I think, we can do that. Why do it? Let's do that here. Maybe it's fun to watch, maybe not. I don't know. I think that was 3. Then we have 4. I think right now they are tied, but yeah, they still have one more dino left. So right now, yellow is definitely in the lead, and I think they will stay in the lead actually, because the blue player only has 3 H cards on their remaining dinos. So I think, yeah, red will still score in second. 1, 2, and 3. And that's pretty much the end result of my little 3-player demo game of Dinodocus. It's a ton of fun to play, and I really hope I was able to showcase this to you here, because it was a shortened version of the game, because it was only 3-player. The more players you have, the not really backstabby, but the more tactical things get. Where do I place those cards? Or how do I get my plant tokens here? Really, in this case, it's the more the merrier, absolutely. And we enjoyed it a big deal with 3 players. With 2 players, it's really kind of a dual kind of scenario. Not really bad, but then it's really one player versus the other. Whereas here with 3 or more players, it's everyone for themselves actually. And yeah, you can play it extremely tactically. Who should I chase? Who seems to be in the lead, for example? Who should I go after? Okay, hey, there's a dino that already has 4 of those period cards. I really need to take care of this. So a lot of those strategic tactical decisions that you have to take in this game. Keep in mind that this game is currently on Kickstarter, and yes, you will find a link to the campaign in the description of this video. It will pop up during this video at least once, so go check it out and grab yourself a copy. Huge shout out to all of my patrons out there again, and yeah, really hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and until then, bye bye.